Yes, 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 yes. We are live. Let's do it.
Happy October, world. Happy October. Happy October. This is the I was gonna say Millionaire Mortgage Monday,
Say,
right? With
say
all the
whatever you want to
M's.
say. Whatever you want to say.
I always get the M's mixed up. It's Mortgage Minded Mondays, tongue twisting Mondays. And most importantly, it's October. It's the beginning of October. It's the best month in all months. And not only that, but it's the first of the month, right?
It's
It's the
actually the
first of
second. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the
well,
first of the month. You know that song or that was before
yeah,
your time?
yeah.
You ain't know
Bone
about that?
Thugs and Harmony.
Okay. All right.
And this time of the month is where all the sacrifice pays off, right? For all the landlords out there, all the property owners and things of that nature. This is where we get paid, right? So it's the most exciting. We get the checks dropped in the account, we get the deposits, we get the Zelles, however you collect your money. This is the time of the month that we all sacrifice for. But you do have some tenants out there that don't want to pay, right? This is the time of the month when you get those texts. Oh, this leaking, or this got an issue with that. And that right there is an indicator that your rent may be a little late, right? So we do have those situations as well. But it's coming, right? That money is coming. Or they got to get out, right? One or the other. Proud to be a landlord, right? Though through all the adversity, I'm not sure if you can tell through the speech, it's a lot going on my end. But we're gonna steadfast and keep it
You need me
going.
to talk to your tenants?
No, no, no,
Oh.
no, 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 no.
So say, let me
No, no,
know.
no. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so Mortgage Minded Mondays. I'm Tavares Jones, licensed stockbroker, licensed life insurance and annuity broker, and we have Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice? Okay. Thank you. Oh, Kiki. Oh, there. All right, Neon. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. It is October. So I was going to say August since you said the best month. As soon as you say best, August comes to mind, but we'll slide with October. It's October 2nd. Thank you so much for tuning into Mortgage Minded Mondays. I am Hyacinth Henderson of the Henderson Financial Group. The Henderson Financial Group is a full service financial planning and investment advisory firm. We are located in sunny South Florida, although it is rainy today. We have been in business for 30 years. I am a licensed stockbroker. They call that a registered representative. I am a registered investment advisor representative as well, an annuity insurance broker, and a mortgage loan originator as well. All of these licenses mean that when you call the Henderson Financial Group, if it's not me, Tavares, Mr. Henderson, Antonio, we have a slew of people here that are well educated and knowledgeable to assist you in achieving your financial goals and dreams. So I love that you started talking about rent, collecting rent and stuff like that
Oh yeah.
today,
Oh
which
yeah.
is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting you talk about around the first how you start getting those text messages and, oh, by the way, this and this and this. So oftentimes when clients are they come here to the Henderson Financial Group and we start talking to them about real estate and they say, okay, I want to do real estate, but my cousin's baby daddy so and so had a horror story when they own property and the tenants did this and this and this and this.
Yep.
And so what I tell my people is you have to screen your tenants the way you would screen anyone else,
Mhm.
right? So don't just say, oh, you have the rent money, I'm going to let you in my property.
Mhm.
Or you on Section 8, I'm going to let you in my property.
Mhm.
You have to pay attention to their energy. Yes, I'm big on energy. You have to pay attention to how they're talking. If they have to move right now in a hurry, I understand you got to move right now in a hurry, but my place is not for you. Certain red flags you have to pay attention. You almost have to treat a prospective tenant as you would a prospective date or significant other. And that is tune in and not just be focused on what they can do for you,
Mhm.
but also think about how the relationship can work together. And one of the things that I tell all my new tenants when you move in, I give them the same speech, and that speech is, you lived here, I have never lived here. You are going to live here, I have never lived here. Because of that, I don't know what's wrong unless you tell me. What I do well is I fix things as soon as you tell me. So as soon as you move in, I'm going to give you about 30 to 45 days to go through and tell me what's going on, because it's going to take you some time to get all, situated in the place. After that, I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Mhm.
Okay, unless of course something comes up. And I say to them exactly what you said. I said, because it's when it's time for me to collect my rent, I don't want to hear, oh, by the way, this is going on. I said, so you got 30, 45 days. Tell me, bring me up to speed. I could have overlooked something. And that has worked very well for me for many years. And yeah, we be rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The,
yeah.
the only thing, and this is with a new tenant, we have to break them in, is with those central AC filters.
Oh man.
Baby, you
Oh,
keep calling
man.
you keep calling me about
Oh.
the AC, man. This is how all of a sudden the AC don't have any problems anymore. It's my last time fixing the AC. From now on, it's on you. I'm gonna update your lease.
Yeah.
You're responsible for the air conditioner.
Yeah.
You might want to change the units and flush it every so often. No more calls.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When you shift that responsibility,
What?
right, and that accountability, then they've been all of a sudden they know how to behave, right? They know what to do. Their grandchildren know how to keep toys out of the toilet at that time, and it's funny, right? But
Yeah.
it's human nature at the same time, right? So though your tenants may be adults in age, right? But sometimes we all have a childlike spirit sometimes, right? And sometimes you kind of gotta do certain things. Like when we were younger, your parents used to put like barriers on you, maybe like take your cell phone if you go to, if you doing things in class or you not doing your homework, whatever the case may be. And you just gotta kind of lay the law down a little bit to
Yeah,
help you sit up right.
Speaking of laying the law down, yesterday for some strange reason, my son, instead of just carrying my umbrella, he was opening and closing and doing all the funky Watusi with the umbrella.
Yeah.
So we were leaving the store, and I go to open the umbrella, and it won't open. Oh, you just got to do it and do it. No. Long story short, it's storming today. I have no umbrella.
Yeah.
So guess where I'm going when we leave here? I'm gonna go pick him up. You got your wallet, son? You got your wallet? Because I want I want the best umbrella.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go right to Target. We ain't even going to Walmart.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shift that responsibility. I bet you next time you would close the umbrella and leave it closed. So that's on my agenda today. One of the things that I have to
That's how
speak
we
on.
all learn. That's
Yes.
how we all learn.
Absolutely. So today, if you didn't watch last week's show, please go back and watch it. Interestingly enough, I don't want to say ironically, but interestingly enough, as I was on the show last Monday, I received a text from someone and he said, "Hey, can you give me a call?" And when I called him, he had all these questions for his friend that was going through a situation that it was in alignment with what we just talked about.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh my gosh, Tavares, let's talk about this next week and let's break down all the parties of who's involved, because sometimes people don't know. Oftentimes people don't know."
Yeah.
So I'm going to walk you through the conversation that I had last Monday, and then we're going to educate you on that as well. So when I called the person back, his question was for a friend, and the question was, this is the scenario. The friend's mom had passed away, and she passed away. She transitioned without having her estate planning done. I want you all to slow down and listen to the language that I'm using. There are going to be plenty of opportunities for you to run this tape back and take notes, because everything that we're talking about today can help you in the future. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the mom passed away without having her estate planning done. What does it mean when I say she passed away without having her estate planning done?
So it means that she didn't have a will or a trust, right? She didn't have any documentation to show where her assets were going to go after she went to heaven, basically.
Right.
And there's different ways to do it. You can either go the will route or you can go the trust route.
Right. So she passed away. She had this asset, and she didn't say, when I am no longer here in this body, this is who I want to be the owner of the property. And so Tavares mentioned a will, and he also mentioned a trust. A will is going to always have to go through probate.
That's correct.
I am not giving you estate planning advice. I am we're having this conversation so that you can listen to keywords and start to look at your situation, your mom's situation, your grandmother, your auntie's situation, and think about these things. Anytime someone has a will and they say, you know what? I want to be able to say who I want to have things, or who I want to be in control of things after I pass away. If you do that via a will, your will is always going to have to go through probate. Probate is a fancy word for fighting. Probate is when you hire an attorney, unless you're a Mr. Fix-It and you do it all yourself. But probate is typically when you hire an attorney and you say, hey, my mother, my auntie, this person transitioned. They have this house, they have this car, they have these assets. And I need to be able to make moves, but I'm not the legal owner. And I need you to help me become the legal owner. Probate. The attorney says, sure, give me a retainer, $5,000, $10,000. And then this is my hourly rate, $350, $250, $500, depends. This is my rate, and this is my paralegal rate.
So it's going to cost some money.
It's going to cost some money, a lot of money. And by the way, the attorney, I cannot just go down to the courthouse and say, this is such and such son. Here's the birth certificate. The mom would have wanted him to have the house. He's paying me $500 an hour. Mr. Judge, sign off on it. That's not how it works. The way that it works is there are steps that need to be made to make sure that there isn't anyone else who may come and say, you know what, that was my mama too, or that was my great aunt. And she had a document that she signed to me and said that she wanted me to have the house because her son never came to see her.
Yeah.
So you have all these moving parts. So when you die with a will or you die without a will, they call that intestate, then you got to go through probate. So back to the scenario. So the mom transitioned and she didn't have any estate planning done, a will or a trust. Let me go back. We talked briefly about a will. A trust circumvents that. Depending on how the trust is set up, the trust allows you to still speak from the grave, so to speak.
Yes.
So if your loved one creates a trust, go to the same attorney. Here's the funny thing about it. Let's say your loved one went to an attorney and said, I want to get my estate planning done. When something happens to me, I want my son to have the house. The attorney has the option to say, I'm going to give you a will or here's a trust. Most of the times
they go with the will.
Why do you think they go with the will?
Because it's a form of, it's double income, right? So at the time of them writing the will or constructing that will, they get paid, right? And then when it's time to actually put that will in force, they get paid again, as Heisey just spoke about, the retainer and then the hourly rate to actually, you know, fight that battle, because there's court involved, and anytime there's court involved, there's going to be attorney fees involved, and attorneys know that. So it's a wise way on their part to assure future income, a check now and a check later on.
Yeah, because the reality of it is, unless you got a hungry attorney ready to eat the case, right? Unless you like kicking it with attorneys, then when the moment that your loved one transitions and you pull out the documents and you see attorney Joe Smo at 129 Faro Street, 305-777-9311, you're going to call him and say, hey, attorney Joe Smo, I found this document. It has your name on it. Joe Smo is going to say, come on down. Let me take a look at it. And so then you go through the whole process, more money, whatever, right? So that's the will. The trust, you don't have to do that. Whatever you say is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody can contest it. With a will, someone can contest it. I can contest your mama will. I ain't never met your mama a day in my life.
Yeah.
But I can go down there and say, you know what? Your mama owed me some money. I never heard of you, and I got this document. So now it becomes a situation of who's telling the truth. We have to fight. We have to go back and forth. And while you're doing that, you're spending more money to do it.
Yeah. Kind of like divorce court.
Yes. Kind of like divorce court. Depends. All divorces.
I'm traumatized from my past. I've never been divorced, but my parents just traumatized from it. So
that your experience that you had is now you're sharing that.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Okay, so back to the phone call. So he called and he says, hey, my friend's mom died over a year ago, and her sons have been paying the mortgage. They've been paying the mortgage, and the mom owned the house with somebody else. Who's somebody else? One of her friends, a male friend. So I said, okay, pause. I know you want to tell me about them paying the mortgage and they ready to sell the house and all this stuff like this. Is the person that the mom owns the house, is he on the mortgage or is he on the title?
That's another rabbit hole of questions, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two, right?
Right.
So the mortgage, we all know what a mortgage is, right? You are on the liability, right? So you have to pay, right? You are this mortgage is under your social security number. It's under your credit, right? You owe this lender X amount of dollars. Now the title is basically the deed, right? Ownership of the actual land itself. So the mortgage actually speaks about the property, the structure that's on the property, but the deed speaks about the land that the property is on, right? And that's like solidified ownership of that property, of that actual parcel, so to speak.
So now, great explanation, T. So generally, when someone is on traditionally, I don't want to say generally, traditionally, but oftentimes a person is on the title and they're on the mortgage. Sometimes people are only on one of them. If you had me to say, Hyacinth, if you could only choose one, which one would you be on? Guess what I'm gonna say?
It's crazy because when you was just talking about that, I was just going to preface my guys, right? Guys, you got to be strong because women, they will want you to go on the mortgage, right? And they'll say, you know what, since we're married now, right? You know, things are going well, and I cook you good dinner, and I rub your back at night, and I give you foot massages. I think it'll be a good idea if you put me on the deed, put me on title, right? But you can stay on the mortgage, right? That looks really good on you, but I think I deserve to be, because I'm your wife now, right?
So, wait. We can ready to go on a rabbit hole. I got time for this today. Now, are you talking about someone who the man already owns his house and then he gets married and the wife is now saying, you've owned this house before we're married and I want you to put me on the deed?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
No, that's a no-go. You know, my thing is, if there's a situation to where we have to split, right? Leave like you came, right? Don't try to take stuff that don't treat me like a hotel, right? You know how some people, when they go to a hotel they never been to, they want to take bathrobes, they want to take towels, and they want to take sheets. Don't leave me like you leaving a hotel. No, leave me like you leaving your mama house. Most of the time when you leave your mama house, you leaving, you know, you probably sweating because the AC not working, you know. So don't leave me like that. Leave me like that. Make sense?
Not to me. Not to me at all.
It ain't for everybody.
Right. It doesn't make sense to me. In my example, when I said if there was a choice in which there was one for me to go on, I would always want to go on the see now, LJ, why you came in the chat with this? Keep it real tea. But see, then this so let's unpack this, because what's the purpose of getting married? When you get married, you know you become one.
Yeah, we can come one off of everything in the future, right? So we can collaborate. Okay, that's just like we both artists. I sing, you sing, right? Now I had an album out before I met you, so I get all the royalties from my album, my past album. Now we both sing. We can create an album together, and we can create, you know, we can collect royalties. We can split the royalties, right? And when it's time for us to do shows, to sing songs from the album that we collaborated on, then we can split those proceeds from the shows, right? But your album before we met, that's all you want. No, I don't want none of that. Keep that. That look good on you, you know. But my album that I generate this huge fan base, and I grinded it out, got it out the mud. Don't touch that.
Logically, I understand, because so when I get married, I'm not, if he's gonna have property, I'm not gonna say like we're not doing this, right? So you got you some real estate already, future hubby, right? So I'm not going to say, hey, let's go and put me on your title. But good. I would hate to imagine that I would be marrying someone with a thought process of, oh no, you leave like you came. Like that even thought process is just, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole on Mortgage Minded Mondays, because there may be an instance where, here's the case. Let me give you a real scenario. So let's say you marry someone, we marry someone and they already have a house, and there comes a time when we need to refinance the property. And we need to refinance the property. And ding, 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 in Florida, guess what? Florida's a homestead state, my boy. So when you refinance that property, guess who's going on that property? Since you married now.
Okay, I'm listening.
Me. Okay. And then the mortgage broker can say, guess what? You have to refinance the property. Properties have risen. Property values have risen. You need some equity. You can take like $300,000, $150,000 of equity out. Mrs. Future wife, or whatever the case may be, do you want to go on the mortgage and the deed, or only the deed? If it were me, I would say I do not want to go on the mortgage. And here is why. I advise couples to do this all the time. If you can qualify off of one income, then only qualify off of one income, so that you can leave the other credit free of a mortgage or available, so that when you buy your second and third or fourth and fifth property, both of your credits don't have the same liabilities. However, in this Florida homestead state, the mortgage broker and the title company are not even going to give my husband the option to take me off, because you married now. You got to be on. You know that, right?
Okay, so the moral of the story is don't refinance your primary residence. Just refinance the rental property, right? That's no homestead on the rental property. So that way you can get around that, right? So that way you can go ahead and buy a house together. Y'all got a house together. Go ahead, y'all can both be on that. And I was gonna just say something about divorce court and family court for men, but I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. We'll be here all day.
But it's so interesting. I love the thought process. Well, I don't love the thought process. The thought process is interesting for us to unpack, because you would say, don't take this $300,000 in equity because you don't want to put your wife, who you chose to marry. You asked me to marry you, so I ain't ask you. I ain't getting down no money. You chose to marry me, and now you don't want to refinance this property because you don't want me on the title. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna marry somebody that thinks like that. But I get what you're saying from your perspective. I get it in the sense, not that I agree. I want to be clear. I get it in the sense that I understand how you're thinking. But back to today's topic, there is a title and then there is the mortgage. All couples, the ones that are happily in love and they chose to marry each other and they want to be together forever and they're not thinking about divorce. No matter what, I always suggest that you use your credit wisely and you make a determination on how you're going to strategically use your credit. Okay. So let's see, prenup, trust, asset allocation. But when you become one, everything is shared because both should marry wanting to add to each other's lives. That's why they have premarital financial counseling. Premarital financial counseling. Yes.
Dope comment.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to marry you. You talking about something and I don't want your stuff. Like, let's be honest. I don't want your stuff. But if it comes to the point that we forever, I don't know. Let's not. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I get y'all in the utopia, right? In the perfect world, that all sounds good. I would hate to have a divorce, right? But at the same time, it's kind of like having a firearm, right? You don't have it with the intention to use it. You just have it for just in case. And with the firearm, I'd rather be caught with it than without it.
The man I'm gonna marry, he gonna be strapped.
You gotta be caught with it than without it.
He gonna be strapped, and he baby whatever you like. T.I., we playing that song every day. That's our morning affirmation, baby. You can have whatever you like. And but you gotta marry right. Anyway, so back to the story. So the situation was the mom died. The sons have been paying the mortgage. The mom was the only person on title, legal ownership. The mom and her friend, her male friend, were on the mortgage. This tells me when it came time to get the loan, she needed his credit and or income to qualify for the loan. Because they were not married, he did not have to go on title. So now the son's question is, well, we want to sell the place. We have a buyer who's ready to sell the place, but we don't want to give all the money to the mortgage company. They owe like $10,000 left on the house. And so they said they want to sell it for $200,000. We don't want to sell it for $200,000. The mortgage company get the check for $200,000 and keep the overage. We only owe $10,000. We don't want the mortgage company to keep the $190,000. This is a real conversation. And I said, oh my goodness, that's not how this works. And then he said, okay, well, should we just pay the guy that's on the loan the $10,000 just to get him out of the way, and then we can sell the house? And I said, no, because you can pay him the $10,000 and he can decide to go do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't have to pay the mortgage company the $10,000. That's correct. I asked again, is he on title? No, he's not on title. He's only on the mortgage.
Just like that chick, guys. Well, it's a little opposite.
But it's not a problem. He did whatever the case may have been. He went on the mortgage because guess what? He probably liked or loved that lady.
I was just gonna say,
I'm gonna help you out. That's what people do when they like each other. I'm gonna help you out. It's not I'm gonna help you out, and I got one hand behind my back just in case something happens.
You gotta be strong.
Ooh, child.
You gotta be strong.
Okay. Premarital counseling should be mandatory and can be done online or marketed that way at least. Okay, so let's break this down. Tavares, go ahead.
That person. So the guy's on the mortgage, right? Not on the deed. There's a $10,000 balance on the property, and the family is thinking about selling the house. And they don't want they don't want the mortgage company to be paid an overage, right? They just want the mortgage company to get what they're entitled to and to be gone. So that's where the referee comes in at, right? There's a referee, just like your high school football game, right? You got an away team and you got a home team. And you got referees to make sure that everybody's gonna follow the rules, right? Nobody get cheated on. So in this case, when it comes to real estate, the referee is going to be the title agency, right? So the title agency, at the closing table, you see those fees for title, but you probably don't know exactly what those fees cover, right? And it's actually protection. So the title agency, they're going to go through and check the property for any liens. And in this case, the mortgage company puts a lien on the property, right? Because if there is a sale, they have to be paid in full before the homeowner can receive any proceeds. Or sometimes people may have a water bill that haven't been paid or is behind, years and years and years. And the water company is the county in most cases. So or sometimes the city, depending on where you live. And the city can also put a lien on the property for that, or it could be like grass ordinances and stuff like that. So the title company will step in and just to make sure that everybody get what they're entitled to when it comes to the transfer of ownership of that particular property. Think about 23andMe, right? 23andMe or that Ancestry.com. So title companies, what they'll do is they research the history of the deed just to make sure that there's no gaps in ownership of that property. So it'll probably say Tavares Jones owned it from 1989 to 2003. And then Heisey came and she bought it from 2003 to 2008, right? Now, if there's a gap within ownership, the title agency has to fill that gap, right? They have to do their research and do their due diligence to see, okay, who was the owner? Because the thing is, you don't want any gaps in ownership, because let's say the property ownership transfers from me to Heisey, right? But there was a gap 10 years ago. They don't know who owned it, for a small month of time. So Heisey get the key, she move into the property, and then this person just knocks on the door and say, hey, this is my house. What are you doing here? Right? Then that's where you have a issue with title, right? And then the title agency will, it's go down that whole little rabbit hole on that, right? But yeah, so that's pretty much how it works in title.
Yes. And it's interesting that they didn't know that. And I know a lot of you listening, especially if you have not gone through the home buying process yet, or maybe you've gone through the home buying process, but it wasn't explained, because we get a lot of calls when people say, wow, I bought my home, but it wasn't explained this way, or I don't know what I was doing. I just signed, was told to pay this mortgage payment. So the title company is like the intermediary. The title company is going to check the title of the property and see if there are any liens, anything that's going on with the property. They're the one who's going to get the money. So when you're buying a property, you're not going to go to the seller and give them a check.
Right.
Sometimes people do that. They say, you know what? This seller, I know the seller. They're selling the house cash. I have the money cash. I'm just going to cut them a check and they're going to give me the key and we're going to be good. And they run into problems and they end up calling the Henderson Financial Group. The reason why you always want to do a title search and have title, what we call get clear title, is because you want to make sure it's like, yeah, I know you're my friend and everything. In this case, where you're buying the house cash, I know you. I know you want to sell me the house, and you wouldn't ever do anything to defraud me. But maybe there are some things on title that you didn't know. Maybe you didn't know that there was a lien on title because you left the trash out on the curb for too long over 10 years ago. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was a tenant. And for the past 10 years, the county has been accruing, adding fees and penalties and things like that. So while you're ready to make $200,000 on this, there's a $20,000 lien on this property. And maybe that's a deal breaker for you. So a title company is the intermediary, and that's who transacts business. So when you're a buyer, you do not give the money to the seller. You bring your first deposit is going to be given to your realtor if you're paying an escrow deposit. And then when it's time for close, you're going to bring your cash to close to a title company. If you're the seller, you're going to receive your wire. Hopefully nobody's still picking up checks, but you're going to receive a wire from the title company. I thought that was very interesting to know and to come and talk about, because a lot of times, again, people just know I want to buy a house.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't know the parties involved.
Yeah. And it was good to have a conversation, a nice, fun conversation to paint a picture, right? So your story was very detailed, right? And I think we all can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. We all know someone that had an interesting mortgage setup, right? Or interesting property ownership setup, where it was multiple people involved, and you guys wanted to sell, right? So, you know, when anytime there's money involved, you want to get to the bottom of it, right? And the property probably went for years or decades with multiple people just involved and just lingering around. But when there's time for a money exchange, okay, now we got to see, okay, who's entitled to what, right? And that's when we want to get to the meat and potatoes of it. And I get it, 'cause life happens sometimes, but if you can, you kind of want to nip that in the bud early as possible, just to make sure that, you know, the right person get the check. You know, so
and to take care of these things ahead of time. So when I was speaking to the gentleman last week, I said, do all the brothers get along now? And he says, yes. I said, they need to go and start the probate process immediately.
Mhm.
I said immediately. I said, because all it takes is for one brother not to buy somebody's daughter a Christmas gift, or to buy this one shoes and not shoes. And you know how it is. Sometimes families end up not talking for months and years over the smallest things. And so now here it is, you have a buyer. And he said to me, he said, I have a buyer for the property. They have a buyer for the property, but the buyer is kind of iffy because the house isn't in their name. I said, I would be too. I said, just imagine, let's walk this through. This is going back to why you need to have your estate planning done. Just imagine you are a buyer and you see this house and you have the money and you're ready to buy the house, and it's only a $10,000 balance owed on it, and they're ready to sell. You guys haven't negotiated the price, or whatever the case may be. And they give you a contract that one of the sons has signed. I said, first of all, the house is in the mama name. So how can you sell something that's not legally yours? So a part of the probate process is to establish ownership. If you do not do your estate planning, you will have to go through the probate process. If you do your estate planning, ownership is established as soon as that person transitions.
Yes.
So think about this. Think about your situation. Think about your family and friend situation. Do you have your estate planning done? Some of y'all mama right now don't have your estate planning done, and y'all got 7 siblings. 7. Do you think y'all all gonna agree?
And basically, the more siblings you have, or the more people involved, it's harder to get on one page, is what Heisey's saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gives us something to think about.
Yeah.
Holidays coming up, so y'all can start those conversations now, sooner than later. You know, you got Thanksgiving around the corner, you got Christmas around the corner, or y'all might be doing something this weekend, right? It's football season. Some people having, you know, watch parties at the house. I can, you know, before or after the game, I could talk about it. Maybe before, because sometimes people feelings be involved in all that stuff. So yeah, maybe before the football game.
Yeah. So I thought that was so interesting. I said, wow, that's so interesting that this, you know, came up. Other parties that are involved. So let's talk about inspections.
Okay.
Home inspections. And now this is optional. You don't have to get a home inspection. And oftentimes, people are thinking about the price of something instead of the cost of it. Let's break that down. If your realtor or mortgage broker says, hey, you're buying this house, would you like to have a home inspection? The home inspection may be $400. $400. I just have to pay $400 for the appraisal. I don't want to get a home inspection. Why? I don't want to know. Everything fine. I walked around. It looked good. It has the walk-in closets. It has the crown molding at the top. All these things, right?
Yeah.
And so you're looking at the price of it and not thinking about what it can cost you if after you close on this house, and all of a sudden you realize you got mold in the house.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you realize that the pipes, they did a janky job on the pipes, and now every time you turn on the shower, it's leaking downstairs.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all know that not only with houses, but with people as well, they can be decorated really, really nicely. They can be so cute, so fine. Oh, fine, Mr. Muscles, fine. And then when you talk to them, or you try to go a little deeper, you're like, oh, the decoration doesn't have any depth to it. So a home inspection is something that I encourage all of my buyers to get. Do what you need to do to get a home inspection. It's better to find out now than later. What do you think, T?
Oh yeah. I'll never forget when I bought my first property. I was so green to it. I was just ready to close. I was so excited. I was just saving my money, looking at properties and stuff like that. And I finally stumbled across one that I thought was perfect. And my realtor was tired of showing me all these houses and stuff like that. I guess she was tired of me. She was ready to make some money. So they had me sign a waiver to waive the termite inspection. And I just signed it. I didn't even think about it. But deep down inside, something was like, you probably shouldn't sign that, because if they want you to waive your right to a termite inspection, clearly the house got termites. clearly got termite, but everything was redone over. They repainted, they put marble floors down, they put, a fresh, everything was new. The roof was new, all that was new. They painted the inside, painted the outside, everything was new flooring throughout, new bathrooms. And then at closing, the day I closed, the hot water heater went out, right? So I was like, I had to go buy a hot water heater the next day. And then I just noticed these little things flying around. It looked like big ants, right? Big ants. So I'm just thinking they ants at first. So I'm just killing the little ants. But I'm like, hold on. They flying. I never saw ants fly before. And my dad was like, man, these termites. So my dad found out that I waived my right to a termite inspection. He was like, you did what? Boy, I told you better than that. And I was just like, shh, and I had to go get the tin and, have people come through and drill holes in the wall. First, I tried to do it myself. There's a website I found online, do it yourself pest control or something like that. And I bought some stuff online. There was some white milky looking stuff, and I was drilling holes in the wall and the baseboards, and I was just shooting this milky stuff in there with the little spray gun. But it ain't work. It ain't work. I had to put the tin on the house and just go the whole nine. People come through, climb through the attic and everything. And I had just closed. It was my first property. The house had already broke me, wiped out my savings account. Then I had to buy this little hot water heater the day after closing. That was another money gone. And then I had to do this whole pest control thing. So yeah, y'all can learn from my mistake. Get all those inspections.
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. It's something that's so small that you may overlook. And depending on the professional that you have chosen to work with, they may tell you, don't worry about it, just waive it, it's fine.
That's exactly what she did.
Right. Or they may say, it's South Florida, all homes have termites, you take care of it. And while that may kind of be true, let's get an inspection because maybe I want the seller to pay for all this stuff and not me. Right. So when we talk about who's involved in the contract, who's involved in the transaction, I want you to think about everything has its purpose. And if you don't know its purpose, that's not your cue just to say, oh, well, since I don't know, I don't need it. I don't know is not a reason to say I don't need it. I don't know should encourage you to say, how can I find out? How can I become educated on this? And so that looks like asking your professional. If you're working with a professional who does not want to answer your questions, who does not want to take the time to educate you, then you might want to reevaluate who you're working with. Right. So we talked about the title company. We talked about the home inspection, the appraisal.
Yes.
Let's talk about an appraisal. What is an appraisal?
So the appraisal basically just tells us how much the particular property is worth, right? It's called the subject property. So what they'll do is the appraiser will come out, take some pictures, of the living room, the kitchen, under the sink, and just the front of the house, the backyard, etc. And then he or she will compare your house to homes that recently sold within the last 6 months, within I would say a mile radius from your house. And then they'll add some things. Let's say the house next door to yours sold last month, right, for $400,000. But that house is, let's say, it's 400 square feet smaller than yours, right? So they'll do some bump ups on your appraisal for size in the size department. And there may be a house right around the corner that sold for $200,000 more, but that house had a pool. Your house doesn't have a pool. So they'll do some pluses and minuses based off those homes that are in the comps. They call them comparables. And that's pretty much how they develop the value of your home.
At that moment in time.
Yes. Because it's going to change.
Because it's based on the sales. It's based on a lot of different things. One thing to know, if the appraiser sees something that requires an inspection or something that's just blatantly obvious, he will note, or they will note in the report, hey, you probably should get an inspection or whatever the case may be. So when you see that, the appraiser says, hey, I'm not an inspector, but I came out and I was in the process of taking pictures and measuring the home and things like that. I noticed some things that I want to bring to your attention. Use that as an indicator to say, oh, thank you. Good looking out. Let me go ahead and order an inspection. Let's talk about, you can't do it anymore. I mean, well, there's a will, there's a way. Well, back in the days, there was, first of all, we used to be able to contact the appraiser.
She always light up when this topic come up. She always light up.
Baby, let me tell you. We used to be able to call the appraiser directly. I had direct relationship with appraisers.
Can't do it now, though.
You can't do it now. You can't, unless it's a cash deal. If it's something that you're going to be obtaining a mortgage on, then there are all kind of rules and regulations that say, no, you cannot
contacted the appraiser
and tell the appraiser how much you need back. Like you can't say, I need this, give me this value, give me that value, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Oftentimes when appraisal reports come back lower than what you anticipated or what the contract says, sometimes people get in their feelings about that.
Oh yeah, all the time. All
Yeah.
the time, especially because they've invested in the house, right? They
Yeah.
put some money into it. They probably added a pool, probably finished the basement, just did some remodeling to the house. So that way, the house becomes an emotional attachment now.
Mhm.
It's kind of like someone saying that you think your child is gifted, right? But then your child goes to take the test and they're like, nah, he not gifted or she not gifted, right? You're like, hold on, I know my baby's smart, right? My baby's
Not
intelligent,
smart enough.
right? So I get it 1000%.
Right.
And then speaking about valuations and appraisals and stuff, oftentimes, even though it's 2023, us as Black people, sometimes we get the short end of the stick when it comes to appraisals, right? And there's been several situations on the news where the appraiser comes in and, will value this house, at, let's say, $600,000, but it's a $900,000 area, a community that the house is in. And that same family will get a second appraisal or get a second opinion and just remove like their family photos and things of that nature. And the valuation comes back a lot different, right? It comes back a lot higher, so to speak.
Mhm.
So it happens. It does happen. But, what are you going to do? It's just like, what do you do? I guess it's life, something that happens.
It can happen.
Yeah.
It definitely happens. There have been instances of that happening. I remember one of our clients, actually, I'll tell you who when we get off the show today. She was going to refinance or do something, and she had read these stories and heard about these stories. And so her anxiety started increasing because she was like, oh my gosh, we have to get an appraisal done. And I've been reading all these stories and hearing about da. And what should I do? I should take down all my pictures. I ain't taking down nothing. Let me start there. I wish I would, right? But she was concerned, and I was like, first of all, that's not your story. That's just not your testimony. So for those of you who are new here, I am very much so into metaphysics, energy, and all that kind of stuff. For those of you who are true, you already know this. So I'm not giving that no energy. I'm not thinking about that. I am setting the intention for the value that I know that I need. I'm setting the intention for the value that is equal and that is in alignment with the homes in this house. Like I'm not even focusing on that other stuff that these people have going on in the world. That's me. And that's what I advise my client to do. And when she got the appraisal report back, the value actually came in higher than what she anticipated. And she was like, oh my gosh, Hyacinth, I'm so glad I talked to you. And then I don't know. And I said, listen, that's the way of the world. Whereas oftentimes we think about stuff that has not happened yet, and we ground that into our reality because of the energy and intention we're giving it. If you understand metaphysics, you understand this, right? So I know today is Mortgage Minded Mondays. I don't want to go too deep into that. Yes, we have to be aware, but as you're aware, I never want you to think that any external power is more powerful than you are. Be aware and like, oh, okay, that's what they got going on. Ain't happening to me. Like none of my business. That ain't going on. I'm not going through the task of taking out. I'm not putting the energetic energy into going through my house, taking down the pictures and doing all this and all that. Right time, right place, divine connection. But yes, I guess it can happen. It depends on what you focus on.
Yeah.
So we talked about appraisals, we talked about inspectors, we talked about the title company. We talked about the difference between the deed and the mortgage. We talked a lot about estate planning. I didn't anticipate to talk so much about the importance of doing your estate planning and having your estate planning done, but I guess it kind of just fit.
Most definitely, because it's real estate involved, and that's the most important asset when it comes to transitioning, right? Everything else you can add a beneficiary on, right? So your bank accounts, your stock accounts, your retirement accounts, your annuities, you can have a beneficiary on those. So you technically don't need those assets to be in the trust or on the will, because they're already documented on where they're going to go when you go to heaven. But with your house, that's how you set up a beneficiary for your house. And since this is Mortgage Minded Mondays and mortgage are related to real estate, it's only right that estate planning comes up. Yeah. So.
And think about, a moment ago, I just said, don't focus on the price and think about what it can cost you. Right. Yeah. So a lot of times people say, okay, I got it. I understand that real estate is a great way to build and transfer wealth. I have all these properties. I have this property, this piece of land, whatever the case may be. But oh my gosh, the attorney want to charge me $2,500 to put this estate plan together. Okay. Which mindset are you on? Are you on the scarcity mindset or are you on the abundance mindset? So is the price $2,500? If you do not, and I'm just quoting a price, listen, they could be $335. I don't know. Right. But you have to get into the consciousness of saying, hey, let me not allow the price of something to take my attention away from what it could cost me if I do not buy this. If I do not get estate planning done and I got 100 properties and we know people that literally have 100 doors. Let me say that they have different properties and they don't have their estate planning done.
It's kind of like eating healthy, right? So when you go to the produce department and you see exactly how much a bag of apples is, or organic apples, or organic fruits and vegetables, you're like, ain't no way I'm gonna pay all this. I can go get me a can of baked beans and some hot dogs and I'd be good, right? So on the short end of it, you saving money, right? Quote unquote saving money. But when those baked beans, right, they pile up on you, or that fried chicken, clog your arteries. I still eat fried chicken to this day, but I just watch the portions that I consume. I don't eat it nowhere near like I used to. But you're saving money on the front end, but like I say, those health costs, it's going to bite you towards the back end. And it's just like with everything else. If you have a car and you hear it squeaking and you need to take it to the shop, you're like, not right now. I want to take it right now, right? You're trying to save some money, or I'll take it to the guy down the street, right? It's a guy that, on my grandmother's street that he'd been fixing cars since I was a little kid. Let me just take it to him. He fixed them in his front yard. And, but you drive a Mercedes, or you drive a Cadillac, you drive a luxury vehicle, right? And you're saving some money up front by taking it to this guy, but, he may be voiding you of your warranties, and you just never know. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole of trying to save money, but you're really shorting yourself.
Yeah. Focusing on the price and not thinking about the cost.
Yeah.
I guess you can say it either way. How much does it cost, or what's the price you're going to have to pay?
Yeah.
Right down the line. Either way, it depends on how you want to play with the words. But the point is, that is a part of owning real estate. It's not something that is a non-negotiable. It's not something that you can wait down the line, because till one day. You need to focus on that now. Someone talked about trust and asset allocation. Huge. We're not going to get into that today about titling on a deeper level, about how you can hold titles, not for the purpose of not sharing with your spouse, but for things like this, so that when you do transition, you don't even have to worry about probate. The properties in the trust, that you already have the trustee's name, the beneficiary's name. The trust is an entity, and that entity is not going to transition or die when you die. That entity is a living, breathing entity, and it's still going to go on when you die. Right. So that's another option. But the point is, just think about those things. I think what other parties are there? I don't know.
We did appraisal. We did inspections. We did title. We did a lot. I don't think there's any other.
I mean, realtors and mortgage brokers, loan originators, there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know the difference between the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this part's for you, right? This part's for you. So your real estate agent is going to be the individual that helps you shop around for the property, right? They're like your personal shopper when it comes to clothes, right? Nowadays, a lot of people got personal shoppers that go out and find clothes for them, and your real estate agent is that person. Now, your mortgage broker is the person that's going to find the loan to finance that home, or to fund that home, right? So you want to take care of the funding first. The funding is going to tell you how much you qualify for. One thing you don't want is to get with your personal shopper, i.e. your real estate agent, and you have them shopping in Gucci, Louis, and Prada, and Neiman's Marcus, right? But your income, right, your assets, your credit doesn't satisfy a Gucci, Louis, Prada budget. That's gonna, your real estate agent gonna look at you like, hey man, why you got me shopping over here in Aventura, and Davie, or all these fancy areas, when you can't really afford it, right? So let's take care of the numbers first, and your mortgage broker can put together a nice qualifying amount for your pre-approval, right? to that's when all your documents are submitted, your bank statement, your credit, your income, your W-2s, your tax returns. We'll take all that information, and then we'll bake a path for you, and that path is going to be your pre-qualification.
So using your same example of the personal shopper, or you going shopping, and before you can decide what store you're going to, you like, I want to go shopping, right? I know that I need a dress for this occasion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should be going to Target, if I should be going to Neiman Marcus. Where should I go?
It's a huge difference.
Before you know that you need a dress, that's one known. In this case, you know that you want to buy a house, right? You know that you want to buy some real estate, an investment property, whatever the case may be. That's your personal shopper. Your husband is the person who's going to tell you, here, baby, this how much money you have for that dress. I knew you'd like that, huh?
I'm listening.
Your husband is going to say, baby, I gave you $500 or $5,000. Now, if your husband gives you $500 to go shopping for this dress for the special occasion, you know what stores you can go to. If your husband gives you $5,000 for this dress for the special occasion, you know what stores you can go shopping to. So in the case of real estate and houses, the realtor would be like your personal shopper. The loan originator, the mortgage broker, is going to be your loving husband who loves you and wants to support you and wants the best for you, and is going to say, hey, based on all of these attributes, your credit, your income, this is the amount of money you qualify for. So now tell your personal shopper that this is your budget. You like that example?
Fellas, stay strong. They want $5,000 dresses, and they want to go on the deed of the property. That's highway robbery. That's highway robbery.
Okay. I hope you drop them.
It's a good analogy. You was able to paint a picture.
I mean, I wanted to give the ladies something, and vice versa, right? So think about, let's see, what do men like? Watches, right? You're not into watches yet, are you? No. Some men are into watches. They like nice watches. Carol says you are so funny too. I think so too. I think he is hilarious. We gonna have a good time laughing when we get off the show too. Oh my God, the commentary is gonna be amazing. But okay, so let's tell it in male talk, maybe, right? So if you're a man who likes watches or cars or I don't want to do cigars or anything.
Cars,
watches or cars. So let's do cars, right? And so let's say as a man, not a male, as a man, you set your goals, you have your income goals, and you see that it's October, you're nearing the end of the year. And you go and you check in and you look at your goals, and you're like, not only have I hit my goals, I have exceeded my goals. I've exceeded my goals. I've taken care of my household. My businesses are all in the green. I've put money into my investments. I've done everything that I need to do. Now I have some extra money left, right? So now let me look and see the amount of money that I want to invest in a watch. Okay. If I have $10,000, this is the type of watch that I can buy.
Okay.
If I have $50,000, this is the type of watch that I can buy.
Okay.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm following.
So after you have assessed all your goals and done what you've done for the year and hit your revenue markers and supported your family and invested in everything that you're supposed to invest in, then you know how much you can go shopping with. Do you like that example better?
It was a little better, but I guess the other one just left a bad taste in my mouth, right? It's still there. You know how you eat medicine before you eat dinner? You know, when I was little, my mom used to give me cod liver oil all the time, and sometimes I would get it before dinner, and it's just like, it's still stuck in my mouth, right? So I guess
the part about the husband actually giving his wife some shopping money? I said, you focused on the $5,000. I said, I didn't just say for the dress. You know, she could. Now, the dress may not cost $5,000. What if the dress is $1,000, but he still gave her $5,000?
No, why would you do that? Why would anybody do? Why would no? If he gotta love himself more than he love her. And that's
remember,
the problem.
He's not poor, so he's already hit his revenue goals. He's already made his investments. He's taking care of all that stuff, and he got some here, baby, this for you.
He could love himself some more. You could put that in overdrive. Love yourself some more, right? That's the women too. Y'all love yourself some more. Y'all, y'all go get waxes and y'all go get your hair done. Y'all go get your feet done and all that good stuff. Right? Men need we need more than just a haircut. So guys, love on yourself.
Get your haircut and don't be. It's an either or with you.
No.
Okay.
No. But love on yourself, guys. Love on yourself and keep them deeds, right? Keep them deeds safe. Keep them close by. Keep them close by. They out here. They lurking. Y'all, as y'all can see, they lurking like
don't
sharks.
do me like that,
Like
Tavares. You
sharks.
know I ain't trying to go on nobody. Like I ain't asking you to go on nobody D. You putting me on your D because you want to. That's how that works. Could you imagine me asking? Can I go on your D?
No, I don't see you asking.
Why would I? What
I don't see
are
you
you
asking.
talking about?
I don't see you asking.
I'm
But
glad you know me.
it's a lot of sharks out here though. So y'all
What I
gotta be
told you
careful.
last week, you call yourself liking me. Why don't you give me the property? What you talking about? You like me? But you want to sell it to me?
She did say
that don't
that.
make no sense. How you like me?
She did say that.
What are we talking about? Here go the D,
Mhm.
Hyacinth. Anyway, I think we're good. You good?
Most deaf.
All right. So thank you for tuning in to Mortgage Minded Mondays. If you didn't watch Catch from the Beginning, be sure to run the tape back. If you didn't watch last week's show, be sure to watch last week's show. This all ties together. Wednesday, Henderson's gonna be out of town.
Yes.
I don't think we said that last week. So he will not be here for transitions. That means we will be back next Wednesday. I'm not gonna be here. So transitions will be back in 2 weeks. All right. Until then, anything else you want to add?
We appreciate everybody in the comments. Mr. Moore, Carol Miller.
LJ, I'm calling your wife.
With all
I'm
the
letting you know
laughs.
right now.
LJ, we appreciate it. And A Plus Healthcare, we appreciate everybody coming through, checking out the show. Pass it to somebody that you think that need it, right? Share it with a friend, a loved one, your wife, your girlfriend, your homies at the barbershop. Everybody need the message. So y'all pass it along. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right. Later.